Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So enums part 2. In the last class we have discussed, I have just introduced about Java enums, right? Today we will deep dive into it. Okay, so we need to understand few more things. So I will also introduce why one has to go for enums and how you can introduce a constructor, how you can introduce a variable inside enums. Can we introduce main method inside the enums? The behavior is going to be similar to Java classes, but you need to there are some restrictions with the enums. We will understand that today. Okay, so enums part 2. Okay, let me open the paint screen. See guys, whenever the word enum comes, always remember that you're going to deal with the constants. For example, India is a constant. It cannot be changed very often, isn't it? Tamil Nadu and Chennai, like uh, the city Hyderabad, and directions, they are completely fixed, right? North, east, south, like we have east and west. Okay, so these are the permanent constants, I can say. At times, these constants may get varied, but for now these are the permanent constants, right? So when you want to represent this constant, particularly with the Java class, so this is how the code can be written. Okay, inside the class, each and every variable is going to occupy what, definitely you should use a variable name, right? So for India, country is the meaningful variable name. For Chennai, city is a meaningful variable name, like, and for Tamil Nadu, state is the meaningful variable name, right? So you need to make a decision on the variable name so that the values can be assigned comfortably, right? So you have India here, and you have what, you have city like Chennai, and you have state like you know uh, Tamil Nadu, like this, right? So you need to have a variable name, and also definitely, so the data has to have the data can be represented with the valid data type. So string is the valid data type to store this data, and even for the city it is string, even for the state it is string, right? Since it is a constant, right, you need to in Java you can go for what, public static final, right? Final keyword is representing, or it is going to store the constants value, so that the moment you start using the finals keyword, no one can change this value is going to be final. No one can modify this. So that is the power of final keyword. But there is a problem when you are representing these things in the class. What is the problem? See, uh, you are taking the public static final repeatedly for three constants. It is completely fine, I can say, right? When you're dealing with more than 10 constants or 15 constants, so this is not a good thing to represent, right? The second thing is every value has to be represented with a variable name, right? So decision on taking the variable names should be given the topmost priority. Should give the meaningful variable names, and also you should specify the data types, right? String. So you need to take care of so many things, right? So that's why if you want to convert the same logic by using the enums, by using the enum keyword, directly go for the enum keyword, right, in lowercase letter, followed by the name of the enum. So directly take the constants, okay? Directly take the value, and this value can be represented as enum type. Directly take India, right? And direct comma separated by comma. Each and every constant should be separated by a comma. Chennai, comma, and Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu. So if you have set of constants, and if you want to, like, the last constant, okay, the last constant has to be placed with the terminator, which is called as what, the semicolon. See how the representation in the Java class. This is how you can represent in the Java class, but this is how we can represent in the Java units, especially for storing the constants, right? So I can say that theoretically, I can say in Java enums, class A extends object. So every class, I mean, for example, let us say if I'm supposed to take a class, every class is going to extend to the object class firstly, right? But you can place variables inside the class, right? It can be instance variables or it can be the static variables, right? And also you have an option to take constructors, and also you have an option to place methods. These things are very much mandatory, not mandatory, you these are the options that you have when you are using the Java classes. Likewise, you let me take class B, and you can have another class to extend to the current class. These are the flexibilities that you have with the Java classes. Likewise, do we have any flexibilities with the Java enums? So this is how the class is flexible. Likewise, do we have any flexibility with the Java enums? Right? I can say that in Java enums, let me put it here. Okay. In Java enums, we can also do what? We can also add variables. Okay, we can also add methods, and we can also add constructors. First thing. Okay, second thing, if you want to be very specific about the Java enum, we want to say, hey, Java enum is used for this particular thing. What is that? What is that objective? The main objective is to define our own data types. So what do you mean by this? Especially when I say the main objective is to define our own data, it is like, see, if you have integer, you can have a data like float, which is going to be in the form of float. You can have a data like a string format, right? And this integer means, okay, the value can be 100. Okay, the float, the value might be something like 100.67 here, and for the string you can take a value something like in any sequence of characters in double quotes, right? You can do the same thing with enums. You can do the same thing enums, but you can simply take enum keyword followed by the name of the enum. Name of the enum, let me take it as new data. You can keep any meaningful name. I'm keeping it as data. I can directly have this 100 comma, okay, 100.67 comma, I can have this Java. If I ask you, I have placed these values inside the enum type. If I ask you, what data type is this values are, or what data types does this values bound to? What kind of data type? If someone is asking you about the data type of 100 or 100.67 or Java, the data type is what? It is same as the enum type. You can say that data itself is a data type. So the enum, the name of the enum is going to be the data type of the values that you are placing inside the enum block. If you take for example, let me take the enum, name of the enum is here. So data type is going to be what? A. If you take the name of the enum as something like apple, data type is going to be what? Apple. And these things will be understood in the following examples. Okay, so this is the justification. This line, when this piece of code is giving justification to this, the main objective is to define our own data type. Okay, and one more thing you need to understand. Third point. Third point says, unlike Java classes, okay, enums neither inherit other classes nor get extended. What does it mean? So in Java, like in Java classes, you have the parent classes, you have the child classes, things like that, right? So this is the example, right? See, I have two classes, class A and class B. Since class B is extending from class A, I can say that class A is the parent class and class B is the child class. So you are making a relationship between two classes because of this extends keyword. Likewise, the class A is extending to object class. By default, these things are added by the compiler. So there is a relationship. You can make a relationship between two classes, whereas in enums, no such relationship you can make. You cannot create the parent enum or you cannot have a child enum to the specific enum. There are no such things like enums neither inherit. Okay, there is no concept of inheritance for the enums. Okay, now the fourth thing is how to declare an enum. Declare an enum in very simple. For example, if I want to store the directions like north, south, east, west, these are the constants which cannot be changed. Okay, use the enum keyword followed by any meaningful name. In my case, I'm taking the meaning as directions. So the set of constants, the set of constants are placed inside a block which is representing what? Which is representing an enum. This is how you can declare an enum. Right? So after the declaration, how to utilize this constants. Okay, that should be the case, right? How to utilize this. So we have seen this in the previous classes, but I'm just giving you the heads up to understand a different thing. So try to stay connected, stay focused. Okay, I'm taking a class like public. Let me take it as public. Let me take it as enum, and we take enum directions block I am taking. So inside this block, I am placing all these constants, right? Placing these constants, and I am taking a class. The class, my test class as the main method. My test class as the main method. So I have two entities here. I have two blocks here. One block is the the enum block, and the second block is the class block. The main method is inside the class block. How I can utilize these constants, north, south, east, west? How I can utilize this, right? Directly go to the name. What is the name of the enum directions? Use the enum name followed by the direct constant. Right? Use the enum name followed by the direct constants, and this will return a value. This will return a value. Assign that value to any variable name. So I want to take the variable name as n. Okay, what should be the data type here? I have just said, right, the data type should be same as the enum type. So directions is the name of the enum. The same directions can be used for the data. Now this n is storing what? This n is storing the value north. I print this some dot out dot print ln. Okay, I'm just printing. Let me save this file, save as. Test.jar. Okay, compilation java c space test.jar. Okay, the java c space test.jar. Java space the north. How I am accessing it? using the enum name directly followed by the respective constant, right? So this combination is going to return the constant itself. It's going to return the constant. It's going to return north itself. This needs to be stored somewhere. I'm taking a variable name n. So data type, I've just said that we are defining our own data type. So directions, the data type that I'm defining. So which is what? Which is the name of the enum itself. This is how we can access. You can access what? You can access the constants, right? I can simply say that. Let me talk about the. Let me copy this. Okay, so let me talk about the properties of enum. Properties of. First thing that you have to take, I can say not properties. I can say that points to be remembered. What are the points that you can remember? First point, always remember the first line. The first line inside the enum should be list of constants. Then you can add what? Then you can add other things like methods, variables, and constructors. Okay, when I take an enum class, let me take an enum class. Always remember to place the constants in the first line. Okay, let me take the constants like red, comma, blue, comma, green. Traffic signal constants. Okay. After placing the constants, you can place either place the variables or the methods. We have constructors. Right? So this is one of the case. The second thing is this is valid, and the moment you start doing this, when you just place constant somewhere apart, when you place somewhere not in the first line, any other line apart from the first line, you get an error. This is invalid, so this is not a valid. The second thing is, so we by now we got to know that it is highly recommended. Okay, please be informed that according to the Java naming conventions, it is highly recommended that we use uppercase for representing. Okay, second point. The third point says, okay, now let us understand something. So I have something like enum. I'm defining an enum and I am taking the name of the enum as the test. My name of the enum is test. Inside this, okay, I just want to take a constant India. Right? So the moment you start, compiling this code, a lot of modifications will be done by the compiler. Right? Always the compiler will treat. First of all, it is going to do what? The moment you give this code to the compiler will treat every enum as a class. These are the internal things. These are the internal things so that the compiler do something so that every value that you are representing inside the enum will be treated as a constant. So this will be converted to a class. So these are the compiler things, okay? And next thing is, it is going to use the keyword as final. Before the class, it is going to use the keyword as what? It is going to use the keyword as final. Okay? The third thing is, enum has been removed, it is hidden. And the next thing is, this class is going to extend from extends java.lang.enum class, right? And every field that you're every constant that you're writing, so by default it will be treated as public, static, and final. And the data type is going to be same as the enum type, which is what? Which is test. You see, these things are added by the compiler. Final keyword and the converting from enum to class, and the extending from the java.lang.enum package, and public, static, final, followed by the test as the data type, because it is the same data. These are the things that is going to be done by the compiler, right? So I can say that by looking at this, I can simply say that we have seen these things yesterday. I'm just kind of repeating this so that we will understand the concept that I'm going to discuss now. These things has been discussed yesterday. Session. So not yesterday, I mean the previous class. Properties of enum in Java. By looking at this, I can simply say that it's been informed that every enum is internally implemented by using a class. First thing. The second thing is every enum constants represent an object of the type enum itself. Okay, so what I'm talking about the constant. So India is a constant, and this is the data type is what? Object of the enum type itself, test. So that's what I'm trying to say. The third one is you can pass the enum constants to the Java switch statement. You can use the enum constants to the statements. So we have discussed now in the when we are discussing about Java switch statements. So enums are part of what? Enums are completely accepted by Java switch statements. So I have said, especially I have said when I was discussing about switch statement class, I said completely that we are going to see about enums in the future class. So this is what the future class is, right? So you can pass integer, you can pass some data type like character, you can pass some data types like you know what we call string. Like this, you can also pass the enum type for the switch statement. Okay. The fourth one is every enum constant is always implicitly public, static, final. Public, static, final. Since it is static, we can access it by using the enum name itself. Since the enum is final, we cannot create child classes. Okay, and the fourth, so this is I think this is understandable. So by default, every enum. So India is an enum here, right? So India is an enum constant, right? By default, they are public static final. Since the class itself is final, when you keep the class as final, you cannot have a children, or you cannot have a child classes, or you cannot have a child enum. So this is actually keeping such restrictions. The final keyword is very powerful that when you place, or even either it is a class or it is a enum, when you use the final keyword for classes or enum, what does it mean? You cannot make an inheritance relationship. You cannot have parent child relationship. And again, final keyword with respect to classes will be discussed in 3 or 4 days in the polymorphism concept. Right, for now, just understand that final keyword is a restriction for the entities like classes and enums, so that child classes or child enums cannot be created. Okay, so this is what is means actually. And also the last one is we can declare the main method inside the enum. So this example was seen in the previous class. So these are the major properties of enum. If anyone is asking you about the properties of enum in Java, you can say. So enum internally implemented by using a class. Okay, enum constants are replaced by an object of type enum. We can use enum constant to in the Java switch statement. Enum constant is always implicitly what? Implicitly public, static, and final. Since it is static, we can access it by using enum name itself. Since the enum is final, okay, we cannot create child classes or enums. So we can declare the main method inside the enum. And these are the things that we have understood in the. So I will show you this example. If you are, let me remove this. Okay. So let me take the class. Okay, instead of I will remove this class, I will take it as enum. Okay, and so now my class has become what? There is no class. I have only enum, right? Inside this enum, I have the main method. So I am taking constants here directly. North, south, east, and west. The 4 directions I am taking. So since it is of test, right? I am taking the test here. Test dot north. Right. So what I have, I do not have a class. I have taken enum. So inside my enum, I have the constants. Okay, the first line is a set of constants I have, and I have the main method inside. So this is the ideal proof that the enum can also have a method. So in this example, it is a main method. So when you use main method, it is also like you can also keep another methods as well. So let me execute this. Let me compile this. The compilation is done successful. Let me do what? Let me perform the execution. Yes, we are getting the answer, right? No. So it is valid now. Okay. Now the question starts. In the interview room, they will ask you a question, right? So there is a method called the values method. Before understanding this method, so the question is, can we do the looping to enums, to enum constants? The answer is yes. Yes, we can. So what does it really mean? Yes, we can, but this can be done by using a method called values method. We will have to iterate through the constants by using a method called values method. Okay, what does it really mean? See, same thing I'm taking north to south, east to west, right? So let me separate this. So I want to take this as the directions. Okay, my name of the enum is what? Direction. Directions. Okay, I am taking a class like public class. Okay, now the code is clear. I have an enum. This has constant set of constants. I have another class and which has the main method. Let me remove this. Okay, two entities I have. One is enum thing, second one is the class thing. Right? So what I want to do, I want to use the values method. I want to use what? I want to use the values method. So what does this values method is actually means? Right? So what is this? What is this enum type? Directions, right? Directions dot. At the moment I start using this values method. Okay, let me compile this. Okay, nothing is visible in the console, but internally something is happening. Internally something is happening. I will tell you what is happening internally. So this is the code. We know these things, right? By now we know. So you're going to give this code to the compiler. Okay, and the compiler is going to generate dot class files. Now, always remember, dot class files will also be generated for the enums also. So there will be dot class files like directions dot class and also test dot class. Two dot class files will be generated. Then you get what you are going to activate the JVM, right? And how do you activate the JVM? Java space test is the command. So test class file will be loaded, right? So this is getting loaded, and you're using what? You're using something like directions dot value. So this directions dot values will enable that directions dot class file will also get loaded inside the JVM. After that, okay, you are calling the method call which is called values. So internally an array will be created. An array will be created. Array means a set of sequence of memories. So how many constants are here? You have how many constants? 4 constants, north, south, east and west, right? 4 sequence of memories will be created, and it is going to have values like north, okay, and you have what? You have south, okay, and you have something like east, and you have something like west. West, east, north, south, west is. So an array has been created. So sequence of memories. So array is what? Array is a kind of, it is going to store the set of sequence of objects of the same data type. And array is a future topic. I will keep it very simple for now. Array is nothing but it's going to store the values in the sequentially order. Right, so north, south, east and has been stored. This is representing an array. This complete thing is representing as what? One single object. Inside the single object, you have what? You have a sequence of memories which is storing the constants north, south, east. Actually, ideally it should be in capital letters. Forget about this. It should be in capital letters. I missed that part. Okay, north, south, east, and each and every memory is going to have indexes. Okay, first index will start from 0. Okay, this is just a kind of addresses. Second index starts from 1. Third index starts from 2. Fourth index is going to be 3. So this is index 0 for the reference, address reference, index 1, okay, index 2, index 3. If I ask you about the size is nothing but you need to count. You need to count how many values are stored. So you have north, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Totally the count is 4. The number of values are 4. So this is talking about the length. Okay, this is talking about the length of an. This is talking about what? This is talking about the indexes. Indexes means a kind of address references. This is talking about what? Indexes. Indexes. Okay, so you don't see anything in the console because these things are happening inside the memory level. Right? I want to see this in the console. I want to fetch each and every value that is getting stored. Okay. So the index 0 as the value north, index 1 as the value south, index 2 as the value east, index 3. I want to retrieve each and every data. How I can do that? We will understand that. Okay. So what I'm doing it here, there is a for loop. There is a for loop called the enhanced for loop. Enhanced for loop. So we have seen the legacy for loops. So enhanced for loop is a kind of the advanced for loop, I can say. So you do not have to define the boundary here. Boundary will be considered directly. You do not have to set the boundaries from where the iteration has to start and from till where the iteration has to stop. That boundary will be taken care by this enhanced for loop. Again, this topic is the future topic. Right? We are trying to understand this values method with respect to enum. Okay? Let me keep it simple. It is just like an ordinary for loop, but the syntax is going to be very little different. You use the for keyword. Okay. Enhanced for loop means, okay, let me write the syntax here. Enhanced for loop. So this is how the syntax looks like. For, okay, the first part is going to have the data type. Data type followed by any variable name. Use variable. Okay. Here it will expect the second that you separate this with a colon, not semicolon, colon, and followed by here you have what you have the arrays or collection type. Followed by opening and closing. So this is the typical syntax. Okay. So you have the data type. What is the data type that you're dealing with? I said right, for enum there is no data types. The name of the enum itself is the data type. So directions is the data type. Take any variable name. I'm taking the variable name as t. Followed by the semicolon. You want to pass an array. You want to pass what? Arrays or collection. So this code is returning what? This code is returning an array. We have just seen that. Behind the scenes, it is returning an array. So in the memory, this is concept of array. So I am just placing this here. I am removing this, not necessary. Okay, now what will happen? This statement, okay, this statement is going to deal with the array. What is going to do? It is going to do what? It is going to deal with the array. Okay, internally, let me put in the pencil. Let me place the code somewhere here. Okay, you have created an enhanced for loop. It is an advanced for loop, right? So this part is going to return an array. Okay, so this part is ensuring that Okay, an array is created. An array is created behind the scenes. Okay, now you see how many times this for loop will run. Okay, the question is how many times this for loop will run. See, we are not setting any boundaries, so how many times this for loop will run? It has to run, right? Okay. Are you able to see the length of an array? Length of an array is 4, right? So this for loop is going to run for 4 number of times, 4 times. If the length of the array is 6, the for loop will run for 6 times. Okay, for the first time, when it is running for the first time, okay, you have d, right? So you have taken the variable name as d here, right? Okay, behind the scenes, okay, a memory will be created d. Okay, d memory will be created as d, right? And every time this array is 4 times, right? For the first time, okay, the arrow will be pointing to the 0th index. What is the value that is going to retrieve? What is the value that is placed inside the 0th index? North. First, it is going to store the value north. Okay, first iteration. Okay, first iteration value north will be. Fourth iteration will be upon the 0th index. Don't get confused. Okay, length is different, index is different. Index starts from 0 always. Okay, the count, I mean the length is what? The number of constants, which is 4 times. Okay, the iteration will start from the 0th index, first index, second index, and third index. And if you count this, you have 4. The count is 4, but this it starts from 0, right? So for the first time, you are going to retrieve the value inside the 0th index. 0th index. What is the value inside 0? North. It is going to store north. Okay, so the first iteration is done. 0 iteration is done. For the second time, it is going to store. It is going to point to what? It is going to, this arrow is going to point to the first index. So this north will be replaced with south. Likewise, at every iteration, right, the value of d is going to be changed from one to another. Okay, for the third iteration, east. For the fourth iteration, west. Okay, and the loop will be ended. What I'm trying to do here is I'm just keeping a line here. Inside this, I'm keeping a statement like system dot out dot println. Okay, I am just trying to print d at that specific iteration. Now what happens? Okay, d for the first iteration. Okay, what is the value inside? The value inside d is going to be north. That will be printed. And again in the second iteration, this is going to get replaced with south. South will be printed. The third iteration, it is going to replace it with east. East will be printed. Fourth iteration, it is going to replace it with west. West will be printed. So I am able to retrieve each and every data that is stored inside this array. How this is happening? This is happening with the help of what? With the help of values method. This values method is actually creating an array. And if you call the enum on values method, it is creating an array, right? And if you just utilize, if you just implement it, theoretically, practically, you have an option to retrieve the each and every constant at that particular iteration. Now, for the first iteration, north will be printed, second iteration, south will be printed, the third iteration, east will be printed, and fourth iteration, west will be printed. So the boundary is taken care. Boundary is taken care by enhanced for loop. You do not have to set the boundary. Boundary will be considered. How many constants? 4 constants. Okay. This loop will run for 4 times. You have 5 constants. The loop will run for 5th time. Let me say something like east, west, north, east. I'm saying I'm taking north. Let me run this code. North, south, east, west, northeast. If you take another constant, the loop will run for 6 times. Every time, each and every value will be retrieved and it will be printed. Let me take something like southwest. So this southwest is also getting printed. So this is the importance of what enhanced for loop. I know these things are looking weird for now because we don't know what is an array. Trust me, I will explain you arrays in such a way that the each and every internal things will be explored. You don't see that anywhere. My explanation for the arrays will be crystal clear, and you become expert. Once you become expert in array, these things are going to be like very easy, right? You do not have to stress much on these things. The important topics are arrays and collections. Over there, you can, if you get some insights on top of arrays and collections, these are nothing. They're going to be very easy, right? So one more thing I have, okay. So this is the importance of what? This is the importance of the values method. Okay. Now I have another requirement. Now my requirement is something like, see. Now in these examples, we are using only one, I mean, the same set of constants. For example, when you visit a market, okay, when you visit a supermarket or any market, any Indian market, okay, typically, for example, you are about to purchase an apple. Okay, wherever you go, you find the apples are categorized into, typically they get categorized into three grades. One is the A grade, second one is a B grade apple, third one is a C grade apple. So when I say grades, grades are nothing but the quality, the topmost quality and the least quality. Right, some apples are little rotten, so they are sold but in a lower price, right? Some apples are very good in quality, they look crystal clear, so they are higher in prices. So the apples that are between these two, their prices are intermediary, right? So I just also want to define the equivalent value for this constants. So A grade apple is going to cost 500 rupees. B grade apple is going to cost something like around 300 rupees. C grade apple is going to cost something like around 200 rupees. Right? Now focus here. If I give this piece of code, if I give this piece of code to the compiler, okay, before compilation, and after compilation, what the compiler is going to do with this? Compiler will do what? Okay. This is the enum, isn't it? This is the enum. I said final keyword will be used. Enum will be converted to class, and the name is apple, which is going to extend to what? Extend to java.lang. Okay. And each and every constants will be represented by what? Public static final of what type? Apple type and a. Like this, I have three constants. For three apple grades, I have three constants B and C. If you observe one thing, I have also a sub value. I have a value, constant value, and I have also sub constants for each and every constant. So this is the sub constant. Okay. So this is just like the parameter. This is just like a parameter. To represent this parameter, so internally compiler is going to take a keyword like new keyword, new A, okay, equal to new B, equal to, it will be treating these parameters like constructors, new C. Okay, you have 500, you have 300 for the B grade, and you have 200 for the C grade. These things are the internal things that will be taken by the compile. Right, so enum is converted to class. These things are very much clear, I think. Right, after this, if it is direct constants, there is no values assigned. Since it is not a direct constant, you have a constant and you have another constant within a constant. Right, this will be treated as what? 500. This will be treated like a constructor. Right, since the compiler is treating this as a constructor, right, it's your job to map, it's your job to map this constructor. It's your duty to, you're taking the values like this, it's your duty to place a variable, the final variable, public static final, okay, integer price. Okay, here this price is representing the values that you have used inside each and every constant. A price is of which data type? Integer data type. Nothing, guys. So this is the direct constant you are taking. You want to represent another value for each and every constant, right? It's your job to represent this by using a variable, which is what, which is as a price. I'm taking it as, but you can take any name. But data type should be ideally equal to the value that you are specifying here. Since these are representing integer, I'm taking integer. Okay, remaining values, since this is also a internal a constant within a constant, I'm taking it as public static file. Second thing. Since compiler is going to do is going to make use of this constructor, it's your job to place the constructor here, apple constructor. Okay, is going to accept the integer price as an argument. Okay, this dot price equal to importance of constructor. Okay, now I am able to place a method. I'm able to place a variable. I'm able to place a, what we call it as the constructor, and to get the value for each and every constant, I will be creating what? I will be creating a method like public integer get price, a return price. I will keep it very simple. Let me copy this. This is our code. Okay, the compiler thinks, the compiler thinks. You give this piece of code to the compiler, you know what the compiler is going to do, right? Final. Okay, the enum becomes what? The enum becomes final. The enum class. Okay? And name of the name is going to be same. It will be untouched. Okay, and this is going to extend what? Friends, java dot lang dot enum package. And the next thing is each and every constant will be treated like public static final apple a, okay, equal to, since you are taking a constant within a constant, 500 is also a constant, right? So this representing the parameter, so you are taking the constructor. This constructor is going to have the value 500 itself. Compiler is going to do this thing. Likewise, you have b equal to new b, which is going to have 300. Okay, likewise you have c is going to what? New c is going to be like 200. Okay, these constants are represented like this, right? So you are writing what? You are writing an enum. So these values are supposed to be, you are assuming that these values are being set through the constructor, through this constructor, because when you look at this is of what type? Apple type. So you're using the apple constructor. You're assuming that these values are set using this constructor. So you're taking the constructors, and you are taking the variable name as price. And after assigning the values, you are using the method get price method, which is going to return the same values. Let me run this code. Then after that, we will see the trace. Okay. So this is the code enum apple public static final int apple constructor, and the method I have taken, getter method I have taken, and I have taken the test class and public static void. Now if you see system dot out dot println, okay, I want to call apple a grade apple dot a grade apple. Not only the constant, I also want to call the price. So I will be using this method get price method. get price method. So internally this get price method will be called, right? These constructors are taking care of set, this constructors are taking care to extract this inbuilt constant 500, 300, 200 will be extracted depending upon the actual constants. A, B, C are the actual constants. So these constructors and this variable is actually extracting this value in the through the get price method. When you invoke the method get price, so what you are calling? You are calling apple on a constant. You are calling get price, right? So this get price is returning the price itself. What is the price that was set? Okay, the price. These things are extracting the value 500. Okay, this 500 will be given. Because you are specifically calling the get price on A. If you call get price on B, you will get the value that is inside what? That is inside the B. Let me execute this. This dot price equal to price. One minute. So 500, 300. So I have removed final keyword guys because since I'm using a constructor here, constructor you cannot use this keyword to initialize the value, extract the value from static. So that's why I'm removed the static field here. I'm just remove the static field here, right? And see now I'm calling what apple followed by a followed by get price, right? So control will be coming here apple dot a, right? So when you just give the a dot, you also want to get the price of a grade apple. I'm using the method called get price method, right? So this get price method will ensure that the exact subconstant is getting returned. For the B, the exact subconstant is getting returned. And if you use C, the extract subconstant is getting returned. Right? I am placing a constant inside another constant. So tomorrow there will be one more class.